incredibly attuned to it, and they're incredibly sort of dependent on it.
We're speaking with Emily Badger, reporter for The Upshot at the New York Times. Her piece is called Why the Price of Gas Has Such Power Over Us. She looked kind of the psychology of gas prices and their ties to how we feel about the economy or the president's approval. What was the point you made about teenage drivers and their early experiences when gas prices are high?
Yeah, one of the things that I did was I looked at a lot of research that's been conducted by lots of different kinds of academics, political scientists, people who study transportation, people who study the economy, who have found over and over again that the price of gas has these kind of ripple effects on other things that we might measure. And one of the favorite studies that I came across is from an economist at the Philadelphia Fed and another colleague. And what they found was basically that people who come of age and learn to drive in their teenage years during gas price shocks, like the shocks in the 70s during the oil crisis, people who experience that in those formative years drive less throughout the rest of their lives. You could look at those people 20 years later, and they drive less than other people who learn to drive during periods of sort of stable and relatively low gas prices. So, that's kind of more evidence that there's something kind of a psychological effect going on here. That we're kind of deeply impacted by how we perceive gas prices and how we experience them. And that impact can affect you for years, can sort of stay with you throughout the course of your life.
I believe that. And it's also worth mentioning, too, as you point out, gas is uniform as a product. Explain that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a bunch of ways in which we buy gas in different ways than we do anything else you purchase. And, one of them is that when you're thinking about, I need to go get some gas, you just have three options. You have kind of regular, you have the mid-grade, you have premium. That's it. There's no other choices to make. And that is really different from many, many other things you buy. I mean, if you just go into the grocery store and you need to get eggs, there's like 10 different varieties of eggs. They have very different price points depending on whether it's organic or grass-fed or from this brand.
The very different price points on gas, or depending on what gas station you get it at. Hello.
Price of other products over time.
Thanks, Emily. Emily Badger, reporter for The Upshot at the New York Times. This portion of the program is brought to you by Lightstream. If high interest rates are making it hard to make it.
So it's Friday, October 28th. It's actually late Thursday night. Just left Bullocks just a little bit ago. 4:19 a.m. That was kind of a fascinating interview, and I just kind of started recording about in the middle of it, just talking about how people's opinions on so many other things, from the state of the nation to the state of the economy to their satisfaction with the president, all follow the exact same curve of increases and decreases in gas prices. And yeah, in this nation, pretty much everybody drives. If you don't, you're kind of disconnected from regular society, which is pretty much how I felt, the 9 months that I wasn't driving. So, anyway, yeah, I'm stuck in line at. I'm just going to gas. I might as well shut off my car and save gas because I ain't moved in a while. Stuck in line at Whataburger. I was really craving a burger, and now I'm kind of regretting that I pulled into this line because now I'm stuck here. I mean, I guess I could back out. There's nobody behind me, but I really want my burger. Oh, hey, we're moving finally. I mean, shit, I ran 4 minutes of video without moving, and I had been sitting a while when I started recording video. So karaoke tonight was all right, I guess. My monitor didn't come on when I connected. I had everything connected, ready to go at a little before 9, and I had the same kind of thing that was going on in my living room when I first hooked up the computer in there after cleaning up my coffee tables and my couch about a month ago, where if I unplugged the monitor, I could get it to completely boot on the TV. and of course in Bullock's, it's numerous TVs, but yeah, I could get my boot screen to land on the TV. But if I had the monitor plugged in, I could tell for all the flashing lights on the computer that it was booting, but no image on the screen. I don't see the BIOS when it first comes on, the splash screen that says Dell and all that stuff. Just nothing. And then the starting Windows thing. I just had a whole bunch of nothing. Now at some point I could tell that there was a signal, even though it's just a black nothingness, but there was a signal being sent to the video screens. It was really obvious with I've got a monitor that's on a tripod. It was really obvious on that monitor just because the power button changes color if there's a signal. If there's no signal, the power button changes color, and then after a certain amount of time it just powers itself off, goes into like a standby mode, and then it'll eventually just power itself off. And so yeah, it was obviously getting a signal, and I've noticed that's what happens, like when it gets, once it's done booting and it gets to the login screen, the password screen on Windows 7. Run Windows 7 on that machine. Once I get there, I notice that the TVs will be on, or whatever the output I send to the HDMI for the TVs or monitors, whatever I got set up. It'll be sending a signal out. There just won't be anything on it. It'll just be, black, 720p of 60 hertz of blackness. And I can tell it was on, but yeah, no image on the screen. And I mean, I tried wiggling the cable. Sometimes that helps, and just like nothing. And at that point, I had to try to get the bartender's attention. I'm like, yeah, I have a dead DVI cable. I'm gonna need to go home and replace that. And they're like, well, can't you just get one at Walmart? I'm like, no, that's not the kind of cord that Walmart sells. I'm reasonably sure Walmart doesn't sell DVI cables. To be honest, I haven't looked for one there, but I can't imagine Walmart having DVI cables. In fact, the only place I can really count on having them at this point is West Tech Recycling, where I went and got my other ones. I shot video when I went down there. Didn't shoot any video in the store. I should really ask them if they're cool with me shooting video in their store, because that store is really, really fascinating. But yeah, that was the video where I was wandering around by the ballpark outside before I went in the warehouse district there underneath the 7th Street overpass. Anyway, yeah, I can't think of any other place that actually sells DVI cables. Not a lot of people use them anymore. Most everybody's using HDMI these days. I run DVI to my control monitor, and again, I'm running like an older style, oddball aspect ratio and resolution, which is very deliberate. And I knew there was going to come a time where it might be difficult to find monitors that are that size and resolution. I hope that time hasn't come now. I'm really not ready to deal with that. But yeah, when I went through all the monitors at home, every one except for the one I've been using in my living room, none of the other ones was I able to get to work. Now the one at Bullock's has been working really good for a long time. I did change the DVI cable out, I want to say a little over a year ago. Now they do tend to short out on me after a while, just because I'm constantly plugging them and unplugging them, and then I'm when I put them away, I coil them around the base of the monitor, which is not good for the cords. But I mean, they got to be stored somehow. Anyway, yeah, it's I got both monitors in the car with me right now. I was going to try to work on them at the bar afterwards, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't have enough light to fuck with that stuff here. I'd rather do it at home where I've got good lighting and more options. But yeah, I'm going to have to get on it. I do know the monitor still has, like, the screen still works, because when I power it up, I can see the like when I hit the manual input select, I can see it switch between analog. There's a little pop-up on the video, on the display. It says analog video, and then it says digital video, and that's working. But I've got one at home that does that I can't seem to get an image on my computer to hit its screen. I'm wondering if perhaps it's an issue with my video card. Maybe the headers are getting worn out. That's certainly a possibility as well. They're not designed to be plugged in and unplugged and plugged in as much as I do that. And I haven't I haven't changed out the video card in quite some time. In fact, I think that video card's made it through 3 different karaoke computers. It's kind of getting up there in age. And now is not the time to be buying a video card, what with all the, supply chain, chip shortage, what have you. It's my understanding video cards are really pricey right now and can be difficult to come by. And my needs for a video card really aren't that much. I mean, that's why I'm able to run this one that's so old, but I still need to be able to run. I mean, at this point, my big thing is I would be able to run a DVI and an HDMI simultaneously. I have kind of an unusual desktop arrangement. I've kind of explained it before and shown it. But,
Hi, you have the breakfast burger?
yes.
That'll be $5.64. Did I need any condiments with it?
No. Kind of an expensive burger, but they're really good.
We're going to do the survey at the bottom receipt. Let us know how we did. Would be very much appreciated. Buy a fry, buy a drink. Here's change real quick. And here's your food. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That kid is really nice. He even gave me my receipt with my change. Love it when that happens. Always super awkward having to ask for my receipt. God, seeing that guy parked right there, coming out the drive-thru, I was thinking he might be sitting there eating his burger. And it reminded me of this video I saw on an auditing channel about a week and a half ago. Probably the most entertaining, cop audit video I've ever seen on YouTube, ever, period. It's this guy with a really strong, Eastern European accent. And he said that he worked, I think it said in the captions that he had just stopped at Whataburger. The guy's in Texas, so, I mean, Texas and Whataburger kind of go together, but he's in Texas, and it just got off work, working like a graveyard shift, and went to Whataburger and was stopped in a parking lot. I don't know, I'm thinking in a public park or something, but stopped somewhere just to eat his burger because he was hungry. He's got off work, which is not an unusual thing to do at all, I wouldn't think. And it's like, I want to say 1 in the morning, something like that. And I need to link it to this video because that video was just the guy was just so like a boss with the cops. But as they're tapping on his window, he's just ignoring them. And the best thing is when he shines they're shining their bright ass flashlight through the guy's window, and the guy reaches underneath his seat, and he's got a super bright mag light as well, and he shines his flashlight right back out at him. And he never more than cracks his window a little bit. I keep telling him to roll down his window. He's like, no. And the guy's accent just really sets it off. I need to put a link to that video. It's outrageous. But I don't just see that guy sitting there outside the Whataburger just made me think of that. But the cops are like, oh, you're suspicious. Why is this suspicious? The cop's like, well, because it's 1 in the morning. The guy's like, it's 1 in the morning this time every day. It's such a great line. But it's just, anyway. So in my last video, I was talking about how there was a fatal accident on the 10 and how that resulted in me getting home super early. So yeah, I heard that when I got in my car, a KTR, immediately, and I was like, whoa, that's right over there. And I'm watching all the people that are coming out and doing the usual thing of going down, the people that are going out the parking lot in the direction I go out on 79th Avenue. And the bulk majority of them hook a left and then a quick right onto Roosevelt, go up to 75th Avenue. Just love the light show right there. Whoa! Holy shit. Wow, I didn't realize everybody was coming to a stop quite that abruptly. As I knock one of my monitors over. I don't know what's going on I-17, but I think now's a good time to look. Damn, it's not ready for that. Damn it. Yeah, I never get a red light when I want to stop and search for something. Just launched one of my computer monitors and pulled the damn cord out of it. Not cool. Oh wow. Some homeless person on the right side of the road had a fire going on. But he was using it for cooking. I don't normally see campfires at homeless encampments. That's especially right there on the edge of the road like that. Shit. I think when I put on my brakes, I launched my Obama phone somewhere. Usually it's on the passenger seat. It's right across from me. Man, I know I just had it because I looked at it to save the time when I started my video. Anyway, as I was saying, a really bad accident on the 10, fatal accident. Not sure, probably happened around this time of the morning. Actually, I mean, it was already a thing at 5:30 a.m. and the traffic was already backed up all the way to the 101 on the 10 eastbound, and then I guess the 101 was at that point pretty backed up, approaching the 10 as well. And of course, I get in. The first thing I hear is KTAR News Radio, and I'm hearing that. But I would imagine not many of my coworkers listen to that. And I saw them all just doing the usual thing of going out on Roosevelt, heading eastbound on Roosevelt, and then all lining up to make the left turn there on 75th Avenue, which a lot of times I don't do just because there are so many Amazon employees all leaving the parking lot at the same time that left turn lane is just backed up, sometimes over a quarter mile down Roosevelt. I always try to get out the parking lot as quick as I can, because if I can get to the front of that line, I do pretty good. But yeah, no, there were people that clocked out a couple minutes early to not get stuck in that. And given the choice between getting in front of them and milking the clock for the last little bit of paid time, I'm milking the clock. Yes, I am. Oh, there's my mobile phone. Yep, it landed on the floor. So it's 4:34, and this light's about ready to turn. So much for me getting a... Oh, wow.
A deadly house fire in northeast Oklahoma is being investigated as a homicide. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer caught on a hot mic telling President Biden that the Georgia Senate race is, quote, going downhill for Democrats. Tom Brady has now lost 3 straight for the first time in 20 years. And the business side of the Phillies-Astros World Series. That story.
Yeah, it was kind of weird watching the postgame show as they were talking about Tom Brady. I, for some reason, thought he was still with the Patriots. Well, after seeing his game, hearing about his game tonight, maybe it's time he retired. He is awfully damn old for a football player.
They should be understood, but the reality is, what one person finds funny or not offensive may to somebody else not be funny or may be offensive. So, it's just a matter of being aware that there are some types of costumes, some types of things you can say or do at these types of themed parties, for example, that might be offensive to somebody, even if it's not offensive to you, whether it's dressing up as a particular person, dressing up to imitate a particular event.
Oh my God! We're talking about people being offended
by how others may perceive you.
Were we this sensitive
Halloween costume
30 years ago?
No.
We probably were not, but probably should have been.
No. No.
What's the biggest problem when it comes to, say, running some sort of Halloween event at work? What do you hear about the most?
Well, it's exactly this, that, you have people who are dressing up as certain individuals, whether it's the style of clothing that, someone is a little more scantily dressed, or whether it's, coming as a person, whether it's a political figure or some other type of person, and you have an individual or groups of individuals who are offended by the message, by the costume. And so, from an employer standpoint, you probably want to make sure ahead of time that you're reminding people to use judgment, that all of the corporate policies, whether it's harassment, discrimination, retaliation, those types of things, they still apply to these types of parties, whether on-site or off-site.
We're speaking with Mike Schmidt, labor and employment attorney at Cozen O'Connor, and
People are entirely too sensitive about that kind of shit.
Workday, treat it like any other. Is that
Right.
the safe way out, or the no fun way out?
There's no question that that's the easiest and probably most conservative way of approaching these things. But with that said, we are still at the tail end or post-pandemic, and companies are trying to motivate people to come into the office, trying to increase morale as so many of us are going through such hard times.
I always find it funny when they talk about stuff like that, as if everybody works in an office.
No fun work environment.
I don't know anybody that works in an office.
You
Well,
still want to
except
make
for
sure
the
you're not
so-called
crossing the line
girlfriend.
into making it more trouble than it is, and more offensive to people than it needs to be.
Yeah. What if you're
even relate to
having,
working in
say,
an office.
a work-related party, not a restaurant, you got a room, folks are getting together. Does that change the rules about maybe what you might choose to wear since you're off property?
It may change how others perceive the party or the event, but that's exactly why I think a pre-party, pre-Halloween reminder is such a good idea, because like everything else throughout the rest of the year, it's important for employees to understand that simply because we are outside of the office, outside of our building, and outside of work hours per se, the rules of the road still apply when it comes to using good judgment, being sensitive, and our normal policies that do apply in work hours and within the four walls of our office. Harassment, discrimination, retaliation, all of those still do apply even if we're at a restaurant.
Is it more difficult for, say, the boss because Halloween falls on a weekday this year, not a weekend?
I think so. Perhaps from a scheduling standpoint. I mean, you also have employees who may have younger kids, and if the weather is nice, you may find that multiple employees are putting in for PTO or calling in sick because they want to spend time with their kids after school, trick-or-treating.
There's what's up with the traffic.
So again, from an employer standpoint, it's about
focus.
the balance, right? You don't want to come down on people who have been having a tough go.
Yeah, I-17 just turns the gridlock right there at Indian School.
And allow for a little bit of...
Yeah, it looks like there's major closures.
Boosting events and some time off, as long as it's not being taken advantage of.
Thomas.
Mike Schmidt, labor and employment attorney.
All the way to the
O'Connor.
Durango Curve.
20 minutes in front of the hour on This Morning, America's First News.
Haven't heard
Coming
anything
up next,
about
the
Iraq.
news
I don't know what's up with
over
that, but-
potato chips.
This is not a drive where I normally need to check the traffic. I just get on the freeway and haul ass home. Kind of threw me for a loop.
But you're not waiting around. You want straight talk. The facts about a Golfix.
Orgovix Relagolix 120 milligram prescription tablets is a treatment for adults with advanced prostate cancer.
Anyway,
Fact.
check the 51, check the 202. At least the rest of the drive home will be,
Not an injection. Orgovix may cause
will
serious
be
side effects.
uncomplicated and quick.
Called QT prolongation. Tell your doctor-
So anyway, I was trying to explain, before I got sidetracked by the radio, I was trying to explain what was up with the accident yesterday on I-10. So yeah, I see all my workers heading, all my, or large amounts of my co-workers waiting to turn left onto 75th Avenue. Now I've never really paid attention as to what portion of those just keep on heading north to go home, and what portion of them get on the freeway and go eastbound along with me. But I would imagine quite a few of them get on the freeway and go eastbound. And they were probably shocked to find out they couldn't do that. Or they really screwed themselves if they were able to do that. Because I didn't go that way. I knew that was just, no place I wanted to be. vibrations are just making it go completely out of focus. That's awesome. Yeah, what do you call it? It might have, the on-ramp might have been open. I've actually got a screenshot somewhere. I forget which phone I took a screenshot of, but I took a screenshot of the traffic situation just because it was so crazy. Zoomed in on that area. But yeah, it's possible the on-ramp was open, and if they got on that on-ramp, they're going to surely wish that they had gone any other route. Because yeah, the I-10 eastbound was like absolute gridlock all the way to, I think the accident was at around 59th Avenue. So I think they were making everybody exit at 67th. So yeah, if you got on there at 75th, you were going to be in that gridlock of people all being forced to exit at 67th. Anyway, what KTAR was advising everybody do, which I was just laughing. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work. They were, wow. Smooth maneuver there, dude. What they were advising people to do was to get off before you got to the Loop 101 and go over to Van Buren and take Van Buren to the 202 and use the 202 to get back on the I-10 on the I-10 eastbound. And I did actually use the 202 to get on the I-10 eastbound, and it was quite glorious. It's the first time I've ever used the Loop 202 South Mountain Freeway carpool lane ramp to get onto I-10 East. It's the first time I've ever done that. It's not a direction I'm ever driving, and it's certainly not at times where I can use the carpool lane. So that was a fun ramp. That was neat, and to be able to do it at such a, I don't know how fast I was driving, but I was moving pretty quick. Wow, this phone is just not focusing at all. Damn. Yeah, it's but yeah, the advice to go get on the 202 at Van Buren was pretty bad advice because well, there is an exit for Van Buren on the northbound 202 there. You can't get on the 202 headed northbound from Van Buren. If you, there's people passing on the right. It amazes me how people just don't think anything of passing on the right in the United States. That is not the passing lane. Yeah, if you go to the Loop 202 at Van Buren and you turn left, you're just on the northbound access road, which is 59th Avenue. And then once you get to Roosevelt, you either have to turn right on Roosevelt or turn left on Roosevelt to go onto the freeway, and then you can turn right on northbound 59th Avenue. But yeah, if you're turning there and hoping to get on the 202 and take that to 10, yeah, you're going to be shocked and confused when there's no on-ramp, and then suddenly you're at Roosevelt, especially if you're somebody who's not as familiar with streets and are not familiar with Roosevelt, because that's, you know, kind of a minor thoroughfare, not a major thoroughfare. So anyway, it was kind of bewildering, like listening to KTAR give this advice, and I was noticing also a lot of traffic building up there. So apparently people were following the advice and trying it and finding themselves unable to get on the 202. Meanwhile, I'm looking at all these surface street backups that are normally not there due to the freeway being closed, the I-10 freeway being closed, and what I ended up doing was, of course, there was the usual backup coming out of Amazon of people trying to turn left onto 75th Avenue, which wouldn't I just stayed in the right lane as I normally do. Ooh, I don't think I'm going to get this light. Come on, light. Don't you? No. I think I could have made that, but no, just no.
Create controversy about chips in the fridge.
Took a picture, posted it on the internet, and yeah, now supposedly ending the relationship.
Yeah, put your drink back. That's something I might have said.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with my chips, put your drink back.
It's the last time you're getting free drinks at my house.
I don't. Can a refrigerator, a vegetable crisper, penetrate like the cellophane wrapping of chips? I guess is what I want to know.
Does it keep them any crisper in the vegetable crisper than it would in just the main fridge?
Yeah,
I don't know.
This early morning news program is always entertaining.
On this morning,
I wish I'd have caught exactly what they were talking about. It sounded like it was entertaining. Anyway, so yeah, I went straight, which is something that I do a lot of times, even when I'm getting when the traffic's not bad and I'm getting on the 10, just to avoid all the backup of people coming out of Amazon. And wow, that's quite the killing machine truck right there. It's riding my ass. A lot of times I'll go straight and just go on up to 67th Avenue. Now, Roosevelt doesn't go straight through to 67th Avenue. You've got to take it to, it gets you to 71st, and then you have to turn right at 71st. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, we got a school zone at 4:44 in the morning. that was still out when I did my extra run home to get my other monitor. Oh yeah, I show started at 10 because I had to go get another DVI cord, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna grab the whole damn monitor, which ended up being a good idea, because when I swapped out the cord, it still didn't boot, and I was just like, you know what, this monitor works. I was just using the computer with this monitor. I'm swapping monitors. So I'm kind of surprised I got paid in full. They didn't even mention paying me any less. So, you know, that's I feel appreciated for that, because I mean, I gave them an hour less show, but certainly was not intentional, and I incurred additional expenses having to do a quick drive home and back just to get, you know, to get stuff. So anyway, so yeah, my thing on the I-10, what I ended up doing is turning right. Now, there were a lot of people that were trying that to avoid traffic, so there was a backup on more traffic. Normally there's no cars at all on that road, but there were quite a few people that had turned right on 71st, and I guess they thought they could just go through on Roosevelt, and as they were turning onto 71st, they were driving really slow. And so I just took the first left, and I'm not sure what street that is. Normally I take the third left, which is Garfield Street, which will take you all the way to 67th. But if to take the first left, it also goes through the neighborhood, and then it comes to a point where it turns right, and that takes you down to Garfield, which puts you a block off the 67th. So I'm guessing probably 67th Drive or something like that. Anyway, long story short, since I'm home, yeah, I took so I did that. The worst traffic I encountered the entire night with all these traffic snafus was actually on Garfield, trying to get out to 67th. That was actually backed up for a block, and it took a little bit. But turning right there, and I took 67th down to Buckeye. Took 67th down to Buckeye. 67th down to Buckeye. Buckeye down to. I'm trying to figure out where I laid the Obama phone down. It was in my hand, and now I don't see it. There it is, back on the floor. Now, interestingly enough, there was no backup on 67th to get to Buckeye, but there was a lot of backup on Buckeye. I noticed there was a good half mile of red at Buckeye, like jammed up all the way from 71st to 67th. But I turned left on 67th. Interestingly enough, there was no backup at the 202 on Buckeye, at which point, you know, it was also 59th Avenue, and turned left and just got right on the 202. And the 202 was flying at like 85, 90 miles per hour, like faster than I'm used to actually driving. And I just rolled with the flow, and and normally it's slow that time of the morning because you've got traffic on the 10, but yeah, no, 10 was closed, and it only became open. And it was really weird taking that exit and coming down and seeing as you were joining the 10, there was no traffic on 10. There was just the traffic coming on the 202 on the 10. And yeah, did about 85 miles per hour all the way from there till I exited at 32nd Street to go get my Circle K drink. But made for an interesting commute. It is tragic that someone lost their life, and that sort of thing seems to happen a lot on in cars, in traffic, on urban freeways. I did head out at about 9 o'clock in the morning to try and update my card information at Pack and Store, and there were still traffic problems on the radio. The freeway I-10 still hadn't opened yet, and at that point they were giving a long list of surface street accidents out in that area that were, I mean, let's be real, they're caused by crappy drivers, but all these accidents that were triggered by the fact that all that freeway traffic was off on the surface streets, and people, being impatient and not trying to get ahead of everybody and playing bumper cars. Anyway, I had no issues at all, though. I got using the Google Traffic View so I could see where things are backed up and making a point not to drive where people are backed up, and got home probably the quickest I've ever got home. Well, not counting, when it's holiday. Anyway, I'm home. I'm ready to go in, eat my burger, bring all my damn monitors in and stuff. Thanks for coming with me on the drive, and thanks for watching.